Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel History Learning. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about causes of the revolt of 1857. By the middle of the 19th century, the East India Company's empire in India had reached its natural limits. The small island kingdom of Britain created one of the largest empires in India. The East India Company has started in the beginning of the 17th century, culminated in the building up of an extensive political domination and economic power. The East India Company created conditions and let loose forces that became bold enough to challenge the mighty power of the British Empire. The chief causes that brought about the revolt of 1857 can be summarized by the key term discontent, which became pervasive throughout the century among the different sections of the Indian population, right from the princely class to the peasants, artisans, religious fanatics to the sepoys. Let's have a look. Political causes, administrative causes, economic causes, social and religious causes, military causes, immediate cause. We'll be discussing each one of it little deeply. Political causes, conquest and annexations. In the course of conquest and expansion of their dominion, the East India Company created a lot of discontent and disaffection among the dispossessed ruling families and their successors. A large number of dependents on the ruling families who lost their means of livelihood and other common people were thoroughly disillusioned and disaffected with the alien rule. These regions included Sindh, the Punjab, Assam, Awadh, Burma, and Coorg. Lord Dalhousie not only annexed the Punjab but added humiliation to the ruling family. Dalip Singh, the minor son of Ranjit Singh, the founder of the Sikh kingdom of the Punjab, was deposed, converted to Christianity, and exiled to England. Rani Jindan is one of the examples. The Queen Mother was pensioned off. Next point is Dalhousie's doctrine of lapse. The doctrine of lapse, especially its practical application by Lord Dalhousie, produced unprecedented discontent in the directly affected states. This move also created a sense of suspicion and apprehension among the other Indian states. Dalhousie annexed the principalities of Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Bhagat, Udaipur, Jhansi, and Nagpur. These measures manifested the lack of sensitivity of the British towards the ancient rite of adoption among the Hindus. Our next point is annexation of Awadh. Lord Dalhousie annexed the kingdom of Awadh in 1856 on the pretext of mismanagement. The dethronement of Wajid Ali Shah sent a wave of resentment and anger throughout the country. The state was exploited economically and the Nawabs were reduced to a position of complete dependency on the British, which was used as an excuse by Dalhousie to merge it with the British Empire. Next point is humiliation of the Mughal emperors. The seals of governors general bore the inscription humble servant. However, there was a gradual change in the relationship between the Mughal emperor and the governor general. Amherst made it clear to the emperor, your kingship is but nominal, it is merely out of courtesy that you are addressed as king. Auckland asked Bahadur Shah to give up his claims and rights. He even stopped the offering of nazar. The Diwan-e-Am and the Diwan-e-Khas were closed. Moreover, the emperor was forced to give up residence in the Red Fort to give up the title of king. Lord Dalhousie recognized Prince Fakhruddin as the successor of the aged Bahadur Shah II. After the death of Fakhruddin in 1856, Lord Canning made it clear that the prince next in succession, in addition to the renunciation agreed by Prince Fakhruddin, would have to renounce the regal title and the ancestral Mughal palaces. Thus, it was not surprising that the Muslims and the Hindus, princes, and people in general felt resentful at the humiliation of the nominal Mughal emperors. Next point is reduction or suspension of pension. As the company's directors were keen to increase their dividends, they wanted the company's administration in India to follow economy. The measures included the suspension or reduction of pensions of the Indian chiefs and rulers. The annual pension of Rani Jindan Kaur, the dowager queen of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, was reduced from £15,000 to £1,200. The pension to the ex-Peshwa Bajirao II's adopted son Nana Sahib and of Lakshmi Bai, the Rani of Jhansi, was suspended. Next point is the absentee sovereignty of the British. The Turkish and the Mughal conquerors who had established their political power over Hindustan had settled down in the country. They spent the revenue collected from the people within the country for administration, military, public work and building monuments. The British ruled India from England and drained India's wealth to their country. This absentee sovereignty of England over India was another political factor that weighed heavily against the British. Rumors of conspiracies. There were a number of rumors about conspiracies against the British. According to a source, Baiza Bai, widow of Daulat Rao Scindia, began a conspiracy against the British soon after she was expelled from Gwalior in 1833. Baiza Bai joined with Nana Sahib and hatched a more comprehensive plot, except the Raja of Travancore. Though these rumors were without any real basis, they show a widespread discontent and anti-British feelings among the native rulers. So this was the political causes.